Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, and freaks of nature of all ages. My name is Brian Bad Hippie Jackson, and welcome to my channel. And welcome to the second tutorial episode of Let's Build Treasures of the Dead. So we're just going to go ahead and start out with level 8, because in the last episode I showed you how we go in and we build the floor. There we go. Oops, I didn't select the floor. Let's go select the floor. There we go. Now we got the floor. So in the last episode, I showed you how we built the base skeleton of the level. We built the floor. We built all 4 walls. We built our corners. We put in our light mass importance volume, and then we also built our player start. We attached the camera to the player, and we also put in our dominant directional or spotlight for a flashlight, and we put in the point light. Now I'm going to pause just a second and check some numbers from a different level, and I will be right back to this one. Okay, and what I did, we're going to go ahead and reattach, because this one doesn't have a spotlight for a flashlight, and it doesn't have a point light for the character. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and move this down here. Never hurts to cover things twice. And in the last episode, I couldn't remember what I had the point light brightness set at, so I just went and checked that number. If you remember, in that one, the point light was a little bit too bright and it made some funky shadows, and that's because I had it set at 0.5. And in level 1, the levels where I have the spotlights and flashlights tagged in, excuse me, the brightness of the point light is supposed to be 0.15. That's what works best. So we're going to go ahead and open up our content browser. We're going to go to actor classes. We're going to drop down lights. We're going to drop down spotlights. We're going to select a spotlight movable, and we're going to put it right there. Then we're going to close that down. We're going to open up point lights. We're going to select a point light movable, and we're going to put that right about there. It doesn't really matter where we put them as long as we have them in. Now with the point light selected, we're going to hit F4 to get into our properties. We're going to change the radius to 128, and we're going to change the brightness to 0.15. Okay. Now we're going to select our spotlight. We're going to hit F4. We're going to change our inner cone angle to 20. We're going to change our outer cone angle to 40. And that's the settings we need for our spotlight. We're also going to take our dominant directional light. We're going to make sure that pitch, roll, and rotation is all set to 0. Okay. Now if we go down and we look at that dominant directional light, we can see that the arrow, that little blue arrow right there coming off the top of it, shows the direction that the light is pointing. We don't want it pointing straight out. We want it pointing straight down. So we're going to hit F4. We're going to take the pitch, and we're going to set it to -90, I believe. Yep, there it is, -90. Now we're going to take the brightness and set the brightness to 0.025. And that's going to darken up our level. Because we don't have a skybox and we don't have exponential height fog, we don't have to worry about ambient effects coming off of those. Now that we've got that done, we're going to come back up here and we're going to open up our Kismet. And we're going to open up our player startup. And I will show you how to make those folders, or those sequences as they're called, because once we start getting into doing a large amount of Kismet for a level, not having those sequence folders is going to make it really, really difficult to figure out what goes where and how and why, and debugging is going to be a pain in the ever-loving ass. Okay, so the first thing we need is we need to attach that spotlight. So we're going to right click, we're going to hit new action, actor, attach to actor. Then we're going to grab that attached to actor. We're going to Control C, Control V, and make a second one since they're both blank, and we can go ahead and put our numbers in the way we want. With the spotlight selected, we're going to right click and select New Object Variable using Spotlight Movable 0. Then we're going to do the same thing with the point light. Right click, New Object Variable using Point Light Movable. Alright, so in the attach to actor for the spotlight, the attachment is the light, the target is our player. Same thing with the attach to actor to the point light, the attachment is the light, the target is the player. So we're going to take Set Camera Target out, put that to the in of the attach to actor for the spotlight, take that out and put that to in on the attach to actor for the point light. Now we're going to select the attachment for the spotlight, and the only thing we need to change in this is we do need to turn on relative offset and rotation, because right now the spotlight rotation is -90. It's pointed straight down. By turning on relative rotation, it's going to change our pitch to 0, which is pointing directly in front of the character, and that's what we want. We're going to take our X, which is our forward and back, and we're going to put the spotlight 10 in front of the character. That's all we need to do to that. For the attach to actor to the point light, we're going to turn on relative offset and rotation. We don't need to do anything with rotation since it's a point light. It shines in all directions at the same time, so it doesn't really matter which way it's pointing. It's always going to shine light out in all directions. But we're still going to turn on relative rotation to make sure it attaches properly. In relative offset, we're going to set our X to -10 to put it just behind the character, and then we're going to set our Z to 10 to put it just above the character. Now we're going to make sure that our spotlight will act like a flashlight and we can turn it on and off. So we're going to go to New Event, but we right click, New Event, Input, Key Button Pressed. In the key button pressed, we're going to go down to Input Names, hit the little green cross, and make that a T for torch. Then we're going to right click, go to New Action, all the way down to Toggle, and we're going to select a normal toggle. The target will be our spotlight, and when we press the T key, it will toggle the light on or off. The light will automatically come on when the level starts. Now that we've got all that set up, let's go ahead and grab our player start, click the arrow A for go to actor, and now all of our windows will focus right there on our player start point. Okay, zoom that out just a little bit. I'm going to pop right over here so we can see a little bit more of the landscape or the architecture, and then I'm going to pause it real quick as I rebuild my lighting. Okay, so we've got our lighting rebuilt, and we get the basic warning that we get every time that the maps are not built with production lighting, but we really don't want to do that when we're first building. We don't need production lighting. If you do want to do production lighting, up here this little light bulb with the eyeball means preview quality. If you click it once, you'll have a little M by the light bulb, which is medium quality. If you click it again, you get an H, which is high quality, and if you click it again, you get a red light bulb with a P beside it, and that is production quality. But for just building and testing, preview quality is just fine. We don't need anything else. So we're going to go ahead and click our play arrow, and we have our spotlight and our point light. We don't have freaky shadows. We can toggle our light on and off, which is exactly what we want. Now the only other thing we still really need to do for the setup here, and actually you don't have to do this, but I am going to because it helps me test play better. I'm going to open up the Kismet, I'm going to reopen my player startup, and I'm going to add another key pressed event. So I'm going to right click, add event, new event, input, key button press. Now in this key button press, I'm going to add a different kind of toggle. So we're going to right click, go to new action, down to toggle, and we're going to add toggle HUD. So when the level starts, our HUD will be active. We'll be able to see it. So we're going to go to pressed and put that to toggle. Our target is our character, or our player 0, which is what the HUD is attached to. And the button that we want to press, we're going to go to input names, add new item, and we're going to set that as H for HUD, so that every time we press the H key, we will be able to toggle our HUD on and off. That does not require a lighting build, so let's go ahead and test out what we've got. Alright, so now we've got our spotlight attached, so our flashlight turns on and off. We still have a very small amount of ambient light surrounding our character, which we want and we like. And if I hit the H key, I can get rid of the HUD and just get it out of my way. Like I said, we're going to build a custom HUD, but until I do that, I'm going to leave that toggle in there because it helps me when I'm doing my test plays. Okay, so all of that is set up and good to go. So the next thing we're going to need to do, we're going to go back into unlit mode, and we're going to go grab our builder brush. And what we're going to do with our builder brush is we're going to zoom the top view out quite a ways. And then we're going to hit this little maximize viewport button over here so that all we have is our wireframe top view. If we want it different, we can hit that. We can maximize any window we want, but we're just going to work with that wireframe top view right now. Actually, let's go ahead and check our side view just to make sure that our builder brush is level with the floor, and it is, so we're good. Now, the way I built Treasures of the Dead in Game Maker was I drew out all of the maps on graph paper, with one square being one portion of the wall, one block. So let's go ahead and set our snap grid to 32 so it's easier to snap to and line up to our grid. Alright, and oddly enough, that works out absolutely perfectly for building it in here. Okay, so one square on the graph paper is equal to one UDK builder brush unit, 256 by 256 by 256. So we never have to change the height of our builder brush to work with the BSP and add in the CSG. And if you've watched the earlier videos in the first Let's Build series, you know that BSP is a binary space partition. It simply defines points in binary space, but there's nothing solid occupying that. Once you build or add CSG, then you are adding constructive solid geometry, which is something that you can see and interact with in the world. That's the difference between BSP and CSG. So I've already told you guys in the last video that I built myself a cheat sheet so that I don't have to do the math every time. So all I have to do is take my map that I built or that I drew on graph paper, and then I count how many blocks deep or wide my walls need to be, and I can add them in from there. So we're going to start right here, one block away from this bad boy. Actually, we're going to go one block in between this wall and this wall, between these two, and we're going to add in our first new wall. Okay, and that one is going to need to be, let me get my graph paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 high. Alright, and so 8 deep, according to my cheat sheet, will be 2048. So we're going to right click on the cube brush, and we're going to set our X, which is our red axis, our depth, to 2048, hit enter, and we want the very bottom of that wall to be even with this wall. So we're going to pull it up right there, and then we're going to click CSG add. We can also hit Control A to do that. And if I go into unlit mode, ooh, let's go into lit mode. Nope, let's not. If I drop this down, I can see over here that it has added that piece of wall, which is exactly what we want. Okay, now we're going to set that builder brush back to 256, and we're going to pop this open again, and coming off the top of this wall, we're going to need one that is 2 units wide. So we're going to center it up, and we're going to change our Y to 512, and that's going to give us 2 units. Add CSG. Take that back to 256. Now we're going to take what we just built, we're going to hold Alt, we're going to drag off a copy, and we're going to pull that over so there's a space between for our door. And then we're going to go up here and build geometry so that that one will become solid. Now we're going to select our builder brush again, move it over here, and this wall on that side needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And according to my cheat sheet, 7 is 1792. So we're going to take the X and set it to 1792. Then we're going to slide this down so that that wall matches up. And that is absolutely perfect right there. And we're going to add CSG. The next wall we need to build is going to go right underneath this wall here. It's going to connect onto this one. It's going to start in this block, and it's going to go over to about 1 block past this area. And I think I'm going to need to add another block there. I think that's 1 block short. It absolutely is. Let's look at my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, maybe it's not. Oh, I see what I did. These are 1 too low. So put that there. Put that there. Move that there. Move that there. Build BSP. What I did was I did not compensate for the wall beneath this one that runs underneath. Oopsie. But it's okay, because now it's fixed. Okay, so now we're going to grab our builder brush, and we're going to create the wall that goes underneath there. So set that back to 256. Pull this down here, because that portion right there is going to be our doorway, and this wall needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 wide. And according to my cheat sheet, 9 is 2304. So we're going to set the Y to 2304. And that actually is exactly where it's supposed to be. I completely, unintentionally, and inadvertently had that block set in precisely the right place. I don't have to move it. I add CSG. I can take that back to 256. Let's close that down and move this builder brush out of the way. And we'll pull this back down. And now we can see that we've got all that extra stuff that we just built, because our start point's up here. So we just built that wall, that wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall. That's the area that we just constructed, which is kind of cool. We're making progress. So we're going to go into lit mode on that one. And we really don't need lit mode on this one. Actually, we don't need lit mode on either one of them. It makes it a little harder to see because our dominant directional light is so light. And we're going to go ahead and rebuild all. That's going to make sure that all of our geometry is in correctly and all of our lighting is correct. Okay, now that that's done, we see it's nice and dark except where our flashlight is, which is cool. We can go ahead and hit play. And then we can go over this way and go look at and interact with what we just built. Right down here. And here we go. We just built this wall. We built this wall. We still have stuff to build in here. We built these two upper walls here and made this doorway. And we still need to split this room in half. There's another wall that goes in the dead center because we entered this doorway from a different direction. But we built that. We built this wall over here. And we've got this set up as our doorway. And that is pretty much the basics of how we add BSP and CSG to do our architecture within our levels. So what I'll do is I will finish off all of the architecture and geometry, the CSG, for this level off camera, and when we come back in the next episode, all of the architecture for the level will be built, and what we will concentrate on is working with our materials. And what the materials that we're going to be using are going to be these prototype materials, and we will prototype the level first and get the prototype materials in, and then later on we will start searching through our cartoon materials depending upon what kind of environment we want here and start assigning the permanent material textures. Okay, and so that does it for attaching the lights and for learning the basics of working with BSP and CSG. Please do not forget to check the links in the description below for the Disabled American Veterans and the Wounded Warriors Project. Let's please help support our veterans. If you liked the video, then hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends and family to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Please don't forget to leave me a comment. They are always welcome, good, bad, or somewhere in between. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly, greatly appreciate your time, your love, your support, your encouragement. You guys mean the world to me. I love every single one of you. Thank you very much. And until next time, this is Brian Bad Hippie Jackson saying peace, love, clean underwear, and happy gaming.